Grab your brooms and join us as we step into a world where magic and modern life collide. To close our spellcasting September, we're casting a spell with Bewitched. Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're talking about the 2005 Nora Ephron film, Bewitched. I'm very excited to be doing our first Nora Ephron movie. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here are a few ways that you can.
If you love us, please write us a review and or rate us. It really helps to generate interest, get more listeners, and just help us grow in general. So head over to your favorite podcasting platform and leave us a review.
And don't forget to smash that subscribe button to make sure you get alerts when we have new episodes live.
And if you want more, head on over to patreon.com/no-more-late-fees, become a bestie, and you'll have access to exclusive content, including lives. We'll send you stickers. You'll get my very carefully cultivated early aughts Spotify playlist direct from my burn CDs. It's a wild ride. My tastes were eclectic.
Speaking of music, if you follow us on Instagram, which if you aren't, why not? We are super excited that they rolled out the music feature on our profile. So look out for our stories every week as we'll be voting for songs that were popular when the movie of the week came out.
Ooh, fun.
And you can choose our profile music, just like on MySpace. What's old is new again.
Yes. And I wanted to give a special shout out to a company is called Five Lemons. They're based out of Florida, and we had the pleasure of meeting them at 90s Con last year. They make the cutest earrings. They have necklaces and stuff too, but for those of you watching, I'm going to attempt to share the earrings. They're little Mickey heads. Of course, I chose white on white. So
maybe we'll just insert a picture.
Yeah, I'll take pictures. Little, and she was running a deal. There they are. Like little vampire teeth studs. Ooh. She was running a promotion where it was like you buy 3 and she threw in a free pair. This is my free pair. Just little peace signs.
Ooh. I think I bought Rena Scream earrings that she loved. Yeah.
And then the reason why I made this purchase, my little baby Orange Bird dangle earrings. If you don't know who Orange Bird is, you're obviously not a Disney World fan. He is one of the unofficial mascots of Epcot.
I was about to say, I don't know. I don't know who that is.
And then one more just in time for spooky season. She has dropped an entire array of Beetlejuice inspired earrings.
Oh, Lydia.
So it's like lace on the bottom, and then the top is Lydia saying, "My whole life is a dark room." But yeah, just a shout out to Five Lemons. I love her products. And if you have a chance, hit her up. She has an Instagram. It's the number 5 Lemons, Lemons company, COMPANY. And then she also has an Etsy store, and 5 is spelled out FIVE, Lemons Company at Etsy.
And if you're watching, you can see the links on screen. And if you're not watching and listening, you can check it in our show notes. Let's get into Bewitched. Oh boy. Movie star Jack Wyatt has hit a rough patch in his career, looking to make a comeback. He signs on to play the role of Darren in a reboot TV show version of the popular 1960s sitcom Bewitched. Jack insists that an unknown is hired to play his better half, the beguiling witch housewife Samantha. so the studio finds an up-and-comer named Isabel Bigelow. Once shooting begins, though, Jack learns that Isabel was cast too well, since she's actually a witch. The movie stars Nicole Kidman, Will Ferrell, Shirley MacLaine, Michael Caine, Jason Schwartzman, Kristen Chenoweth, Heather Burns, and Steve Carell. The movie was directed by Nora Ephron and is written by Nora Ephron and Delia Ephron, and you can watch it on Amazon. It's for rent. It's based on Bewitched by Soul Sachs. But before we get started, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
The best would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
okay, but nothing to write home about.
and same-day rental.
Just get a broom and sweep up that trash. It's trash. Gabosh.
So Danielle, what was your Y2K rating of Bewitched?
It's a 2-day rental, Jackie. Yeah. I love Nora Ephron movies and Nancy Meyer movies. This movie had vibes.
Had something.
And that was about it for me. How about you?
Well, it already had one strike against it going in.
Will Ferrell.
Yes. And this is such a Will Ferrell movie that so Y2K Jackie, same day rental, one and done.
I will say though, I do have a thing where I love when comedians go and take like a rom-com role or a dramatic role. And the thing is that it's not that he can't do it, because he did amazing in Stranger Than Fiction. So I just feel like in general, this movie had no idea where it was trying to go.
Yes.
And like the cast is top notch and it just couldn't land.
Yeah. The cast, like as the credits were rolling, the beginning credits, I'm like, I don't remember Kristen Chenoweth being in this. I don't remember Shirley MacLaine being in this.
What? How do you not remember her being in it?
It was a one and done. But it was just like, as more cast was introduced, I'm like, holy shit, this is such a stacked cast. It should have hit. And it was just, I know we'll get into it more, but it was trying to be meta and it just didn't work for me.
No. Any TV show from the 60s to movie productions, I think the template, the blueprint is the Brady Bunch movie.
Yes, 100%.
If you're gonna do it, that is how you do it right. Anything else, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of like the other ones. Like Addams Family actually is another great one.
Yeah. Charlie's
but
Angels wasn't bad.
no. But we have a lot of millennial nostalgia with that one. But yeah, that one does a good job. It's very tongue-in-cheeky and fun and silly. And I just feel like this one did not hit the mark. Even the Beverly Hillbillies. Is that what you call
That was fun.
Beverly Hills Hillbill? What is it?
Beverly
Hillbillies?
Hillbillies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Anywho, this movie had this is kind of wild. This movie had a budget of $85 million. And I'm guessing it had to go to cast, because I don't know where this budget went. It made $131.4 million worldwide. I'm quite surprised by that.
It had to have been cast driven and nostalgia.
Right. I mean, I read some of the reviews and like think pieces about this. I don't know if it was Reddit or if it was like an article that was talking about how Nora Ephron was trying to do too much behind the scenes. Like instead of finding good projects or something, she was, had her whole family like involved in the production of writing and the music and all this other stuff. And that kind of like took away from the quality of it. I will say the premise just didn't make sense.
No.
Yeah. Anywho, the movie itself might have been cursed. So Bewitched had a complicated development process that took nearly a decade. Rob Morrow and Cynthia Nixon were in talks to star in an adaptation directed by actor Ted Bessel and written by Broadway's Douglas Carter Bean before Bessel died in 1996. So this is like a really early adaptation. Jim Carrey was in talks to play Darren. Several writers, including Loris Elwani, made changes to the script. Nora Ephron was then ultimately hired in 2003, and then principal photography started to take place at the end of 2004 to the beginning of 2005. So it took a long journey. Lil Raj, he gave the film 2.5 stars and stated, "It's one of those movies where you smile and laugh and are reasonably entertained, but you get no sense of a mighty enterprise sweeping you along with its comedic force. There's not a movie here, just scenes in search of one." So pretty much what we said, vibes.
Yeah.
So I liked the vibes, but I did not have an attachment to this movie. When I rewatched it, I was like, oh, that's right. I didn't like this because I thought, oh, I love this movie. I don't know what delusions I was in because I was a Nick at Night kid, right? Like I was watching I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, Petticoat Junction. Like I was watching this shit like it was, you already know, like it was live TV. This was live TV for me. And I got to Nick at Night when we moved to Florida, but when I was in New York, these were on reruns every day. And I was like, this is on right now.
There was one time I was watching Nick at Night and like just little Jackie, and I like went to my mom and I was like, Mom, I found this new show that I really like. It's called Get Smart. And she was like,
Aww.
that shit's not new. Unlike Christine, who let Danielle live in the fantasy world, Mom was like, that was on when I was growing up. I was like, okay, well, I like it.
The Flying Nun, Gidget, all of them. Loved it. So I remember when they were making this movie, I was kind of excited because I do love Nicole Kidman. And I thought she would have done a really good job. But all the elements were there, just they couldn't pull it through.
But before we get into the cast and crew, let's hear a message from our pod pals.
Dave.
Liam.
Join us for Watch It If You Can.
Our podcast is all about box sets we've created of our favourite films and TV shows.
Some you've seen, some you haven't, and others you may never want to watch.
The Watch It If You Can podcast is available on all your favourite podcast apps.
Jackie, this list of of potential Samanthas is insane. I was like, all these people were considered. But I guess, I mean, it makes sense, but it's so many. So before Nicole Kidman was cast, these are the ladies that were considered: Jennifer Aniston, Christina Applegate, Patricia Arquette, Drew Barrymore, Kim Basinger, Kate Beckinsale, Sandra Bullock, Jennifer Connelly, Kristen Davis, Cameron Diaz, Heather Graham, Melanie Griffith, which I don't see that one, Maggie Gyllenhaal, not pretty enough, Terry Hatcher, Helen Hunt, Terry Polo, Angelina Jolie, Ashley Judd, Lisa Kudrow, Alyssa Milano, Julianne Moore, Brittany Murphy, Tatum O'Neal, Gwyneth Paltrow, Sarah Jessica Parker, never, Michelle Pfeiffer, maybe, Molly Ringwald, Meg Ryan, Winona Ryder, Julia Roberts, Brooke Shields, Alicia Silverstone, Hilary Swank, Charlize Theron, Uma Thurman, Naomi Watts, Gina Davis, Jenny McCarthy, Reese Witherspoon, and Renee Zellweger were also considered. Out of this list, Renee Zellweger, yes. Michelle Pfeiffer, potentially. I think I just say that because I fucking love her.
Yeah.
If Meg Ryan did it, she would be a very neurotic Samantha. But I also don't find it too out of place. I think Christina Applegate could have done it if they were going for like a very Brady Bunch metaverse version.
I don't hate Kate Beckinsale in this role,
Oh, yeah.
but also I am biased because I love Kate Beckinsale. But I think she could have done well. Yeah, it was like, and there's no, like, usually when we get a list, it's all kind of like the same
People,
carbon
yeah.
copy of people. This is all over the place.
I think they were just like whoever's in Hollywood. Like, I think of, Gina Davis and Charlize Theron and Uma Thurman. I kind of feel like they're way too tall.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, Will
Nicole
Ferrell is
Kidman's
pretty tall.
too.
That's
She's
true. You're
5'10".
right. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this list is vast and wide.
Bonkers.
And as you were reading this list, there are a couple of people that have things that they do. Where was it? Oh, Sarah Jessica Parker always like does this tongue pointy thing where she'll just be like sitting and thinking and be like,
Oh, okay.
it's a visual for those listening. Oh, and then Meg Ryan's squinty face.
Oh, true. She should have never touched her face.
Never. But that aside, that the part of Nigel Bigelow was written specifically for Sir Michael Caine.
Yeah.
He was perfect in this role. No notes.
He carried.
He did.
And watching this movie, I really just kept thinking of my dad because it felt like how he would talk to me. And the part where he's literally trying to hit on everybody
Mm-hmm.
and she's like begging him, please don't. I felt that.
Greg 411 right there.
Yeah. He said I stay cock-blocking. I said,
Oh.
please don't use that word with me. Or he would go, oh, honey, I'm just talking. I'm just talking to people. I have a friend who may or may not listen to this podcast that I had to separate her from my father a lot to protect to protect her. I actually don't know who I was protecting, her or him. Yeah, that
let it ride.
No, man. You know who you are.
I think I know who you are too. Kristen Chenoweth's part was also written specifically for her because Nicole Kidman loved her performance as Glinda in the Broadway musical Wicked. Ken clocked that immediately. He goes, hey, it's Glinda. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, they wrote this part for her because she was Glinda. And he was like, oh, he thought this was before she did Glinda. And so it was double witches. But so he was very excited though. I love this movie. I don't know why.
I like the moment I saw that Jim Carrey was approached to play Darren. Do you know how much better this movie would have been with him and Nicole Kidman?
The problem was when Will Ferrell played Jack, there was nothing endearing about him. You needed something to like about him, even though he was a dick and like conceited and stuff. You needed that thing, which he like, you needed the Danny Ocean effect. Like, he's doing all this shit and like being rude to people, holier than thou, but he needed to have the charming charisma to get away with it and have people that wanted to continue to like be around him.
I feel like they played around with it a little bit. There was like hints of it. And so it's crazy that he's written by a woman, because when he's going initially to negotiate him joining this show, he's kind of sweet and he wants the show to do really well. So like you kind of get a baseline that that is actually a nice person, and it's his like really slimy agent that pushes him to be kind of an asshole. I think if they had stuck with that dynamic where what is her name? I want to say Samantha, but that's not really her name.
Isabella.
Okay.
Isabel?
Yeah. So I would have liked it more if Isabel kind of saw when he was himself and not putting on, which would have kind of spoken to the Hollywood situation instead of him. It's either he was sweet and kind of had to like be an asshole because he's being had this pressure to play that role, or he's an asshole, but the moment he meets her, he's just so smitten that he starts to do all these things, and then everyone on the set kind of sees him changing before them. And we kind of see that, but it
didn't
takes a
play
long
out.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Mike Myers was the producer's top choice for the role of Darren. I love Mike Myers.
Can't
I
see
don't
it.
see it.
No. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. And also I just don't think I would believe the chemistry between him and Nicole Kidman. Yeah,
No.
it's Jim Carrey for me.
Yeah. And not that like Jim Carrey, I have less of a problem with. I just don't like super slapsticky comedians. But I think Jim Carrey did a really good job in his career balancing those slapsticky comedies with more toned down roles, like Man in the Moon and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, now we know what we ended up with. Listen to what we could have had with this Penny Marshall version of the movie. So in 1993, Penny Marshall was attached to direct the movie. Her cast was to include Meryl Streep as Samantha Stevens, Barry Humphries in his Dame.
Yeah.
Barry Humphries in his Dame Edna persona as Endora, Robin Williams as Uncle Arthur, Shelley Winters as Gladys Kravitz, and Jerry Seinfeld and Billy Crystal alternating scenes as Darren, in a nod to the role being recast midway through the original series run.
You had me until Jerry Seinfeld and Billy Crystal.
Yeah, that's when we lost the plot, Penny.
Yeah.
But I think Penny Marshall would have done a better job because I know that they were trying to do a rom-com, but this needed to be just slapstick comedy.
Because that's what the original Bewitched was.
Exactly. So would have preferred that one. I the Jerry Seinfeld of it all. No, I love Billy Crystal. I don't care.
I could have seen Billy Crystal in it, like an early 90s version, 100%. Because Darren was just like an everyman, which I feel like Billy Crystal is.
But not no Jerry. I hate Jerry Seinfeld. Trash. But Nicole Kidman had someone else in mind, Jackie. Who was it?
Jimmy Fallon. So it was during an interview on the Howard Stern show, Jimmy stated that Nicole Kidman was looking to add him to act as her love interest as Darren in the movie. 100% could see it. If we don't get Jim Carrey, Jimmy Fallon, not a bad runner-up.
No.
In that role. But after a failed date, in quotes, between the both of them, where Kidman years later revealed she had a crush on Fallon, the role ended up on Will Ferrell instead.
He did not, like, if you ever see that clip, he did not realize it was like a date.
No.
He's so confused. And I know he big mad. He messed that up. Even though he, it seems like he's good with his wife, his current wife, who is Drew Barrymore's producing partner. Joan Plowright was originally cast as Aunt Clara, but had to pull out. So Kristen Chenoweth recommended the role be given to Carol Shelley because the two had starred in a Broadway, sound like I'm from Boston, co-starred in the Broadway production of Wicked. So Shelley took a week off appearing in the show to film her scenes. I liked her. She was really good. All right. Are you ready? Let's do this.
As I'll ever be. So the movie opens with Samantha kicking some old lady out of her house and stealing it, essentially.
Love to see it.
So she shows up at this cute little bungalow in LA, and And I was confused. Okay, so in the movie, her nose twitch is just a nervous tick she has.
The nose, she does. I don't think she does the nose twitch when she's just Isabel. She only does it when she's on. Oh, well, I guess when he sees her doing it,
Yeah.
maybe it's just like, yeah, she's itching or
Yeah.
something. Allergies?
The whole premise of this movie is
Allergies.
situated around allergies.
Hey, it's a real world problem, okay? We all have allergies.
This is true. So Isabella performs her magic by yanking on her earlobe. It's most of it. So Isabel pulls up, tugs on her ear, puts a for rent sign in the front yard,
and
conjures
then fully
up
furnished.
Yeah, fully furnished. The lady's like, okay, doesn't pay any money. And then like even gets a Volkswagen Beetle out of the deal. Thief.
But she's not a thief, she's a witch. She said that she's got to get a job so she can have money. She's just like, she hasn't been in the mortal world.
So do that before you move out of daddy's house.
Why would you do that when you have witchcraft?
She wanted to be a normal person.
Not yet. She got to set herself up. You know what? I love those fish out of water movies like this. There's like Enchanted, where you kind of, even 13 going on 30, where you're kind of, everything's so new to them. I don't know. I thought it was cute. Those are the parts I actually liked about this movie.
Yeah, like her shopping in Bed Bath & Beyond, where she's just like trying to buy like regular everyday items. Also, like Annie Mumolo is in this scene. Like she's
I don't
just
know who that is.
An extra. She like wrote Bridesmaids and stuff.
Oh, wow. Oh, right. You're right. Maybe she was just trying to be, an actor then, or she's cool with Nora and she just cameoed.
Yeah, or maybe Will, because I mean he was on SNL with Kristen. I don't know, but yeah, there was even in the background there were like random famous people in this movie. So she's going through Bed Bath & Beyond to furnish her already furnished house, I guess.
Well, she's getting like
towels.
She wants to be normal, so she's doing weird shit. But we forgot there's one thing about the house. So the house that she rents was actually chosen by Nora Ephron because it had belonged to a friend of her parents, and she had visited it many times as a child. So just by pure coincidence, those friends were Larry Burns and his wife, Sandra Gold, who played the second better known Gladys Kravitz, and Alice Pierce, the first Gladys Kravitz, died after the second season and was replaced with Gold. So Ephron kind of talked about that story during the DVD commentary, that she didn't realize any of this until after the movie was made. I'm like, oh, maybe it was a witchy, spooky coincidence. I don't know.
So Daddy appears at Bed Bath & Beyond, and he's like, "What you doing? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we pretending?"
Right.
And she's like, "I want to be normal. I'm tired of dating warlocks. Mama's gone again.
I would like to not date warlocks anymore either."
Fair.
I do like that she uses a tarot card to purchase her stuff, and then when they go to the diner, like, she keeps telling her dad that she's not going to use music. Like, each time she's like, "I'm done with magic. Like, this is the last time." When they're going outside of Bed Bath & Beyond, he's like, "Do you need an umbrella?" She's like, "No, I'm gonna go run out the rain." And that reminded me of two things when she runs out in the rain in this scene. One, the picture of her in real life going like this out in the parking lot with her arms out after she divorced Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And then that video that went viral of Drew Barrymore just laughing and giggling in the rain. And I said, white women in the rain. I don't even know what to say. Couldn't be me. Not messing up my hair.
Yeah.
They go to a diner. And again, she is still using her magic. But yeah, she thinks that she's going to be fine out in the real world. This is the last she's going to use of her magic. Her dad's like, all right, we'll see.
Sure.
Right.
And then we meet Jack, who is played by Will Ferrell. He's kind of a washed up actor. His last project didn't do well. So he's trying to find a redeeming project. And they keep giving him shit because he's moving from movies to television, which is a step backwards in his world. And they're trying to find uh, the Samantha to his Darren in this Bewitched reboot. And as you were reading the laundry list of actresses that were up for this role, I'm like, did they do what the ladies in the movie had to do, where they just sit and twitch their nose?
Probably.
Did we just get the best nose twitcher out of that group?
So I had a thought, like, first of all, in my head, I kept remembering when I saw this movie that Endora was her mom.
Mhm.
And so when she came out and she didn't say like, "Oh, mom, what are you doing here?" I got really confused and I'm like, "Oh my God, I've made up a whole other subsection of movie in my mind." But I think it would have been really interesting because why not play up the family dynamics? What if her mom finds out that she's trying to live in this real world and shows up to be in the cast of the show to like
Mhm.
try to like fuck shit up and be like, "What are you doing? You need to come home."
Yeah.
But then we find out the actual show of Bewitched is really based on her mom marrying a mortal at some point and then just like saying this shit ain't gonna work and leaves. And then that mortal writes Bewitched. And so
I
like the
love that.
entire story is based on their family dynamics. And so then she starts putting things together, like because she's never seen Bewitched, she wasn't allowed to
Mhm.
watch Bewitched, and she has an aunt that's named the same aunt and all this other stuff. And the guy who plays Darren actually is the son of the mortal, and there becomes like all sorts of drama. That would have been so much fun.
I want to watch your movie instead of the movie I had to watch. We do see, like you said earlier, like Jack is just trying to get back in good graces with his audience and stuff.
Yeah.
And his assistant or publicist, I don't know, played by Jason
I
Schwartzman.
think it's his agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's kind of the one that's like really ruthless at the beginning, and he
Yeah.
keeps telling him, "You don't want to be the mayor of Pussytown." And I'm like, what's happening? What Why do we keep saying pussy and
Right.
Bewitched?
I don't know. It was not necessary.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird to see like Stephen Colbert just like playing a regular person.
Yes.
It's like, what is happening? And I do love that Heather Burns is in another Nora Ephron movie, as I don't know what her role is, if
I
she's
think
like a PA
I think
or
she's just like a PA, but like she knows that Jack is just an asshole, and so she's kind of on Isabel's side with everything.
yeah. Yeah, so I was confused by it all. And they again, this is when Jack is showing that he wants this to do well because he grew up really loving Bewitched.
Mhm.
And in my movie, he grew up loving it because his dad made it. And he wants to do it justice and not be perceived as a Nepo baby. But anywho, so
So
but yeah, good. Sorry.
we see the auditions and no one's landing. Like the nose twitch is off, the acting's not there. And so Jack is really beside himself to try and find someone to play Samantha to his Darren.
Because he has insisted that has to be an unknown.
Mhm.
Because he's trying to be the star of fucking Bewitched. Make it make sense.
Mm. Samantha is the star of Bewitched. They replaced Darren and no one fucking cared.
But I feel like this is so true to Hollywood that like when you see Grey's Anatomy, for example, like when they cast Patrick Dempsey and Ellen Pompeo talks about this, right?
Mhm.
The fucking show is called Grey's Anatomy and her name is Meredith Grey. But for some reason, the executives think that like Patrick Dempsey is the star of the show. The two of them are stars together, but like they really make it seem to her that she can't do it without him kind of
Right.
thing. And at some points he was making more than her. And I know he was a more established actor, so I get it after the first season, during the first season maybe. But like clearly she proves herself
Yeah.
eventually. That's why she becomes like the highest paid actress on television because she carries the whole goddamn show for a while. Despite I can go into a long tangent on the things that piss me off about Meredith Grey as a character, but this happens on TV shows so
Yeah.
often when even the audience knows who the star is, who they love, who they come back to watch, they will pay the guy more. And
Mhm.
so it was interesting to watch that dynamic in the movie because when he finds Isabel and discovers her at the bookstore twitching her nose and
Mhm.
like he convinces her to be an actress and she just said she needed a job, so she's like sure, but then she's so enamored by him, she's automatically in love with him. Similar to the issue we had in Simply Irresistible, because we're like, we don't see any redeeming
Mhm.
qualities why these very like strong, beautiful women would fall for these weirdos. He's like making her literally not even have any lines. And she's not even paying attention. She's so in love with him, thinks he's great. Ugh, trash.
He is a warlock. Isabella, run. Thank you. Yeah, so we see she does have to try out. Like he finds her nose
Right.
twitches on par, but she does have to go try out. And like they're like, okay, now run through your lines. And so she's just like sitting and reading. And they're like, no, out loud. And then she starts reading like even the description of like the set and everything.
Which makes sense. I feel like most people would do that if they don't know, you know?
Yeah. And so he sits down and just starts having a casual conversation with her.
Yeah.
And like her answers are authentic because she is actually a witch, but they think she just has really good comedic timing. Like you need a permit for a poison apple. So Jack like does this weird proposal thing where he's like, "Will you be my TV wife?" And like you said, she's just so enamored by him. She's
She
like,
eating that shit up.
I'm like, I turned into Napoleon Dynamite a
You're
lot
like,
in this
oh,
movie. Also meet Maria Kelly, who is Isabel's next door neighbor, played by Kristen Chenoweth. And so they just become friends throughout the movie.
she just randomly just shows up. That shit,
Yeah.
like, and then she just always with her.
Like at one point she's just on set with Heather Burns's character. And I'm like, do, do,
What's going on?
do you work? Like, are you just here to support? Like, what? Why are we here? We also in this scene, Isabel is now familiarizing herself with Bewitched because she was never allowed to watch it. So she's sitting in bed watching all the episodes, and she has a "I am a witch" shirt on. I was
Yeah.
like, these are the details I need in this movie, like
Right.
those nods, not whatever this was that we got.
Which, by the way, if you like that shirt, we put it in our Amazon store. So,
But then we see like Jack is just a jerk. Like he has this really fancy cappuccino machine, literally has a sign on it that says Jack's cappuccino machine hands off. Like, come on.
why, dude?
But Jack and his agent are talking, and like Samantha or Isabel is literally like 5 feet away, if that. And they're not whispering, they're talking at a normal tone of voice about how they're going to cut all the lines and like she's really just a prop for him in this
Right.
show. Isabel does not like that.
No, she goes full on witch. She starts, and what I don't understand is how her friends don't realize it. Like, y'all didn't see her blow up that espresso machine?
Yes.
The all of a sudden she's turning up wind and like fucking shit up. So yeah, that's when she like starts really doing some stuff on set. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna show you." I
Mhm.
think there should have been more scenes of her just fucking with him. Like
Yeah,
that I would have enjoyed.
because we really only got like the dog. At first, we only
Right.
got like the dog jumping into her arms. And then Nina, Heather Burns' character, like writes her a line to say. And so
Yeah.
it slaps, and everyone's like, bitch is funny.
Yeah.
Let's give her more. And so Jack's pissed. And it's around this time, like, she makes something happen. And Iris, that's her name, right?
Yes, Iris.
So Iris, who plays her mom on the show, notices it, and then she like calls her out on it, but you don't know if she's coming from a place of like
Is she a witch too, or is she just
being a
like
witch on TV.
right? Because us as an audience don't know, and Isabel is like, "Oh, I've been caught," you
Mhm.
know. So we watch her catch her with her tail of the pulling. So she does the twitch with her nose, but then she starts pulling our ear. And so she kind of just warns her, like, like you were saying, a lot of actors have their tells or things that they constantly do. Like you have to like watch yourself or they're gonna
Yeah.
catch on to that.
So
They're on a date.
that's right, because
The aunt comes and casts a spell, but she don't know. Just like in the actual Bewitched show, that the aunt doesn't do a really good job
no.
of she fucks shit up every time, like no matter what she tries. And so they decide, what did they call it though? Because she came in through the chimney.
And
So
Nina's at the house too.
so Maria and Nina are at the house, and then Aunt Clara falls through the chimney and just shows up. But this is where I get confused because why is her aunt, Isabel's aunt, named Aunt Claire, or does she conjure an Aunt Clara character like from the TV show? That is never made clear because when she's angry and she's like, I need a plan. What's her real name in Montgomery? Samantha Montgomery. Is that her name in real life?
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Thank you. Elizabeth Montgomery, like a doll of her, is like constantly twitching, which
Winking.
we never see again. Yeah. Or like there's no explanation for that, but again, magic. So one, my question is, why didn't the women notice Aunt Clara come through the chimney? Is this her Aunt Claire or is this from the TV show? I don't know. But then they decide they're going to brew up something together and the girls don't question this shit at
They're just
all.
like, cool, he's a dick. You need retribution.
And where do they get their outfits from? They're all in witches gear. Nina's got a wig on, I thought. So, okay. They do a spell, it hits Jack, and Jack becomes so fucking obsessed with Isabel. It starts to get like crazy.
when
So
he's
much.
when he's on the set and someone's talking to him, like the director's talking to him, and he's just like staring at Isabel as she's getting her cappuccino, because now they're allowed to use the cappuccino machine.
Right.
And like she bends down to get something and he like follows her down and he's just like stare. I was like, what is happening?
So he is obsessed and it just gets out of hand. So she asks her aunt, like, hey, is there a way to undo this? Her aunt doesn't know. And then her aunt pieces out, kind of like on the TV show. And so then she rewinds time. I'm like, if you knew how to cast that, why did you even ask your aunt?
Yeah, they go on this really weird date where he's just enamored. They're like eating dinner, but like at a makeout point. It almost feels like he sings her a song,
It's awful. I'm
a
like,
Promised Land
fast
song.
forward.
Yeah.
I
And then like she literally asks him, oh, we're about to kiss, aren't we? And then he like responds, well, you just ruined it, Miss Narrator. Like, there's no narration in this movie. Like, if there was like an actual narrator, like
that would have been funny.
Isabel thinks that they're about to kiss, and then she's like, oh, we're about to kiss, then that would have been funny. But like
Right.
that, I'm like, so is he bad? Like, past Jack where he's like rude and shit now? Because like I feel like enamored Jack wouldn't say this.
He would have been like, yes, we are.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's our
it
destiny.
was, but I think it was just a weird way to like have her rewind time
She
to
snaps
what?
out of her like love cloud.
Right.
Yeah, so she rewinds time and now she has a plan. She's just going to go in like strong independent woman. And so Jack's throwing some sort of fit and she just yells at him. She's just like,
Yeah.
stop. Like, I want fucking lines. I'm a part of this production. You are the one who drugged me into this thing.
Right. And she says,
Like,
we're in a marriage.
yeah. So I love at one point she yells, be quiet or I'll give you a tail.
She says that to his, what's his name? Archie? I don't know. Jason Schwartzman's character, his agent. And she has to tell him a few times to shut the fuck up. And she has to tell Jack to shut the fuck up and sit down. And she really gives it to him. The rest of the production's like, yo, we out of here. Because they've probably seen this shit before.
Yeah.
But I think it like really hits him because he said in 20 years, nobody's done that. And I think that is so true to people who get famous. And then you just have yes people around you that you have lost a sense of reality. And now all of a sudden he respects Isabel. She quits. Because he says she's fired. She's like, bitch, I quit. And she goes and gets her stuff. But then it hits him like, holy shit, like I am being like a horrible scene partner and this isn't going to be successful because I have, yeah.
Yeah, so he actually apologizes to her. And so she agrees to come back. And then there's like this montage of them. Is this when we get the montage at the studio where they're like dancing and singing?
I don't remember. I do know at some point. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think they go to the studio after hours and they're like singing and dancing. And
right. They call it their place.
Yeah.
The studio.
And they're making like silly faces. He's like trying to teach her like acting strategies. We do get some eyeball acting. Not as strong as Jennifer Love Hewitt's.
I knew you were going to say that. As soon as I was watching this part, I was like, ooh, eyeball acting. Jackie's going to love this. Sure enough, you ate it up.
I did. Oh, like the only enjoyable part. And it wasn't even the eyeball acting in this movie. It just made me recall Jennifer Love Hewitt's eyeball acting. And I know what you did last summer. So essentially, Isabel floats home on like a little cloud of happiness. And she's like, something magical happened all by itself. I didn't do anything. Like we had a connection. So.
And at some point, Nigel and Iris meet each other for the first time because he just randomly shows up on set and Isabel's like, oh, fuck. And they're both like they're smitten with each other, essentially. Yeah. So I think that is interesting. I mean, I think he shows up on set and is flirting with other people too. And then later on, we start to like their subplot is super cool. Again, another thing I had made up in my head was that this was really her mother in like she was veiled so that they didn't know it was her.
Yeah.
So that she could win back her ex-husband without him knowing. That's the subplot I had made in my head.
That's very if you like pina coladas.
Which they fucking sing in this song.
They do.
I'm like, that's not a romantic song.
No.
Very odd.
We also like there's a couple of throwaway lines about how Jack is in the middle of a divorce from his wife. He was only married to her for 19 months. She left him for a younger. I always just imagine like a cabana boy.
Yeah.
So Jack's wife shows up. The bloom is off the rose with her love affair, and she wants Jack back. Why? We don't know. She's got everything. She's living in his house.
And she won't sign the divorce papers.
Yeah. Like, why? You don't need him. You've got all of the things. But this is the scene that you were talking about earlier where Isabel's like now just side-eyeing this woman coming in here trying to steal her man. And she makes this giant fan go off, and the lady has like extensions. Her extensions are like blown out of her hair.
Just going back to I'm not doing magic, but by the way, she does make like this whole light fixture thing fall on this woman, and then she's like, okay, I've gone too far, and she rewinds it back. But then she's like, okay, just another tweak, just to tell Jack I'm gonna move out of the house. Oh, I'm gonna sign the divorce papers. Oh, I'm moving to Reykjavik,
Yeah.
Iceland. So she just keeps layering on the magic. She can't even stop herself at this point.
So, and I think that's where she realizes, like, I can have one foot in each world, but I'm gonna have to tell Jack about it.
Which her dad is like, don't do that. And she's like, I can't live with the secret. He's like, oh no, that's easy. It's not a problem.
And then it's like a cast. I'm assuming it's like a wrap party or something, or a holiday party. I don't know, some sort of party for the cast and crew.
Jack has it at his house, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we see Iris and Nigel. Like, all these women keep coming up to Nigel. And this is when we find out Iris is
definitely a witch.
Definitely a witch. She's casting her little spells, making all these little hotties turn around, walk away from Nigel.
One girl, speaking of Grey's Anatomy, one of the women is Addison Montgomery.
Yeah.
Played by can I remember?
I see her face.
I see her face too. Hold on. I'm just gonna find it. Oh, that's not working. Kate Walsh.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the women is Kate Walsh, and literally she says to him, yeah, we can get it on and have a good time, but the next day I'm just like going to be talking about myself and my Pilates or a spinning class business or something, and then leave you. The next day here's something crazy. One girl says, I have hepatitis C. I don't know why he doesn't see. He tells Isabel at one point that something is happening, that all he thinks about is Iris, and that's just not natural for him. Like,
bitch, you're a warlock. Like, you should be clued in that, like, shit like this happens.
I don't think she ever, like, comes out and says that she's a witch in the movie.
I don't think so.
Love to see it.
So Isabel has a conversation with Jack. And so she admits that she's a witch, and he thinks she's just joking or like leaning into her character. And so he's like, oh, well, yeah, I got bad news. I'm a Clippers fan, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, let me show you. And so she's like, puts a mustache on the agent. And Jack, I think, just thinks that like the agent's in on it. And then it's like an umbrella in the drink. He's like, oh, you do like magic, you know, like.
Yeah.
So she takes him outside and she's like, this is my broom. And I can make it fly. And so he's holding on to it and he's like, oh, so funny. And then she's like, watch me. And like she sends it up in the air and he's just like hanging on to it for dear life. And now he's like freaked the fuck out.
Yeah. And he says some really horrible things to her.
Yes.
Another prejudiced man against witchcraft.
Yeah. Justice for witches.
Yeah.
So he scares Isabella off. Like she takes off on her broom. Like he literally, there's like this big decorative plant with like these branches in it. And he takes one of the branches and he's like shoving her away with the branches.
I like that she vocalizes that you're really hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
And then she says, now you're just pissing me off. And, you know, then she's out that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
and she just goes about her life. But I love that she goes to the coffee bean because she has this throwaway line that like they're able to make it full circle. She's like, when she's talking to her dad, like, I want to just, be at the coffee bean and talk about things that have no solution or something. And so she's talking with her girls about the whole situation and just like she's gonna quit acting and just go live her life. And she was like, because there are no solutions. We're at the coffee bean. But Jack sees her like everywhere essentially and just, misses her, is crying when he sees little witches, girls dressed as witches for Halloween. And then he's about to go on, I think, Conan, and he's in the green room. And then Steve Carell randomly comes in as Uncle
Arthur.
And I just feel like this whole scene could have been cut out.
I don't understand. Like, Jack is a regular human.
Right.
But now he's just like okay with Uncle Arthur appearing in the mirror and talking. So like what are we doing here? Like
I mean, maybe now that he knows that Samantha is a witch, fine. But who is Uncle Arthur? Is he Isabel is a witch, I'm sorry. Is that her uncle? See, all this would make sense in my movie.
Yes.
Just say.
Yeah, because like, yes, we're remaking Bewitched. So Bewitched, the original, exists in their world. So he would know who Uncle Arthur is. But
Right.
why is a random Uncle Arthur showing up in the real world to talk to me
to help
and make things right with Isabel? Like, it makes no sense. Although I will say, Steve Carell playing this character is another 10 out of 10 no notes, because that's how the original actor was.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a really good job. This whole scene is just like convoluted because he's apparently helping Jack find Isabel, and Isabel is at their place, which is the fucking studio, and they're sitting in front of the fake version of their house for the show. And then he apologizes and like tells her pretty much that he really he loves her, he cares for her, whatever, and that hopefully one day they can get married, like all the things they make up. And she's smitten and happy, and he's like, you literally could be with any man in the whole wide world and you're choosing me. And I'm like, yeah, why?
Yeah. It's not.
Why?
At the end of a rom-com, you're not supposed to be like, she could do better.
Yeah. You can do better, Isabel. This don't make no sense.
None. But we do see like the show is a huge hit. And then so they do live happily ever after, purchase a house. The neighbors are looky-loos. Amy Sedaris plays the wife, which I love.
Richard Kind plays her husband, which he does a really good job. They both do good versions, but somebody I saw reviews said that like it felt like the roles for Amy and for Steve were kind of cut down. So it just feels like they're kind of just thrown in there randomly.
Disjointed. Yeah, it did feel disjointed. But then like, and this is a established neighborhood, tree-lined streets, like very nice. And Isabel's like, the yard is missing something, and like grows a tree right next to the other mature tree that's already in the, like, we couldn't do something different, like, oh, let's put in a water fountain or something, and like done that.
The budget, that's where it went, to these stupid ass special effects.
Fucking tree, man.
Whatever.
Well, that's Bewitched.
That is Bewitched. Let's go through some of the fun facts we missed. I love that broomsticks were sent out to the movie theaters as a promotional item for this movie.
Too.
Super cute. Wonder if we can find some on eBay.
I'm like, I want a Bewitched broomstick, even though I did not care for this movie then or now. This was the first movie starring Nicole Kidman that was seen by her two youngest daughters, Sunday and Faith. But due to their young ages, the two girls believed their mother was able to perform magic tricks, and they were just left confused and disappointed when they realized the truth.
As they should. I would be disappointed too. I do love in the DVD commentary, Nora Ephron comments that out of all of Nicole Kidman's roles, Samantha is closest to her actual personality.
I do
So-
like that too. For work, Nicole Kidman was the keynote speaker,
Mhm.
and she was absolutely lovely. And I would agree, and obviously she could be putting on a persona or whatever, but she was very kind, very soft-spoken. So I would agree with Nora Ephron's assessment based on my engagement with her.
Because you guys are good friends now.
We are.
Good friends.
And then Nicole Kidman was told not to twitch her nose in public until after the movie was released, but did after much pestering from Jonathan Ross on Friday Night with Jonathan Ross.
Okay. As usual, guys. It's not our first time riding a broom around here. If you have any comments, you have any questions like we did, hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And present day ratings, Jackie.
Same day.
It's still 2-day for me. It's not the worst, not the best.
If you have anything you'd like to add to the conversation, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653. Twat us at the Twitters, him us at the thread. And we can get text messages on that number as well. I've never said that, but it's a Google Voice number. Usually we get wrong numbers asking for is this Clyde's number? But if you want to text instead of call and leave a voicemail, we'll take anything. And you could be featured on a future episode.
And join us next week as we step into spooky season with Shaun of the Dead.
And as always, be kind and rewind.